nh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
Rec Advisory Board meeting to order. It is the September 25th, 2024 Rec Advisory Board meeting. If we could just go around the room and just introduce ourselves for the record, that would be fantastic. You can start with Bob.
Bob Dudra, member.
Jen Harrington, member.
Mike Whistler, member.
Stephanie Papakostadis, chair.
Dan Provost, member.
And we're joined by Joanna. There's Bryn. Bryn, you get a name tag over there now, too. We've got Joanna. We're joined by Joanna. We're joined by Greg Bison, Parks and Rec.
David Tovey, Exeter Parks and Rec.
And Nancy just didn't join us. She is our select board representative, and Bryn Sullivan as well, vice chair. We do not have any public comment, it appears. Just too bad. Looking for everybody who received the August 21st, 2024 minutes for the last Rec Advisory Board meeting. Everybody have the opportunity to read over those. Then I will entertain a motion to approve them if they were all correct.
I would move to approve the minutes of, I'm not sure the date,
August 21st.
of August 21st.
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of approval of the minutes, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. All right, the minutes passed. Approval for the August 21st Rec Advisory Board meeting minutes. We're going to move right along into recaps. So, Greg, if you want to take us through with recaps, that'd be great.
Yeah, this quick facility recap for you all. Even though we're short-staffed, we are still moving along with some facility maintenance projects. Pool painting, I've helped Scott Thomas, our parks foreman, which I'll get to later, in painting the pool. We're going to finish it up on Monday, and we just have the floor left, which is the easiest part. The walls and the deep end is the hardest. So Scott was able to do the deep end by himself, and I helped him with the walls. So it is epoxy paint. It was 2 years ago that they painted it and saved the town $70,000. This is just another added coat. It looks great. And that's what that is. And then exciting news, our staff, along with some wonderful pickleball volunteers, will be brightening up our pickleball lines at the rec park starting on Friday, possibly. We have gotten a lot of complaints, especially from the Big Brothers Big Sisters tournament, that the darker blue is harder to see. We are going with what's the color, Bob, did we pick? It's something like sand, like a tan. So it's a little more contrast to it. We actually got a very cool taper for athletic courts. So it's put 2 rolls on and it'll do a perfectly straight line. So we're excited. We're going to try doing 2 and see how it goes, and then just work our way down the line and see how many we can get. We need it at least 50 degrees at night and rising. So just like any of the paints, we need that. And the cure time is fairly quick, so it comes with a primer and a paint, and they'll be freshened up for the spring.
Are we going to be shutting down the courts at all during the time of?
Only those courts that we're going to do. So that's why we're going to do 2 pickleball courts at a time.
Okay.
So we're just going to block it off, stay off, got caution tape, and this we'll work our way down. But it dries fairly fast, Steph, so we're not going to have to worry. It's not like the same coating that you would put on there and you want it to cure 24 hours. So we're good.
Awesome. That's good. Any questions on the facilities update with pool painting and the pickleball courts and lines from anybody? A discussion? Nope. Everyone's happy? Mm-hmm. I'm happy then. All right. Well, we will move on to fall soccer then.
Fall soccer is going well. We have 305 players this year, as opposed to last fall, 280. So still growing. More players means more teams. We have 3 fields for our teams at the rec park. We also have other fields for other youth sports organizations. So the space is becoming limited. So we'll be putting out a survey at the end of the season just to kind of gauge everyone's feedback. Some of the games are a little bit later, like 1 or 2 in the afternoon on Saturday. So if we're able to find another field for next fall or spring, we'll do that to help. But other than that, everything's going well. Our intern, we got a fall intern, Riley. He's been a lot of help. Greg and him got it going while I was away. So, yeah, everything's going well with soccer.
And we will be sending an email out to the parents and asking FC Exeter to send it out as well. People need to show a little more effort in walking to the soccer fields instead of all trying to cram in 10 Hampton Road. They park everywhere on the grass, and if it gets too wet, they will sink and tear up the lawn.
Right.
So
I'll
we're
communicate
just
that
asking
to my
people to
team.
be polite. Just walk from 4 Hampton Road like they used to.
Right.
There's 123 parking spaces down there, and going by on Saturday, 10 Hampton Road is packed, but plenty of spaces at 4 Hampton Road.
Yeah, of
so
course.
we just ask, plan ahead.
Okay. All right. I'll address my team and we'll have them do that. Thank you. I want to give a shout out to all the volunteer coaches, not just for soccer, but for all rec sports. It takes a lot of time, a big commitment, and it does take a lot of time away from your family to do that too. So I want to say thank you from us, but I also want to say that I coach one of the Hawks teams, and I've been able to see the coaches for the rec teams, and they have been awesome. These kids are so engaged, and they're having so much fun with them. And every team, especially the little ones, it's really hard to keep them focused. And these coaches have done a great job. I'm shocked that they have these kids lined up and staying in lines and doing drills. It's really been fun to watch. So if you're watching, coaches, thank you. We appreciate you, and we know how much work it is. So keep doing it. We appreciate you.
And on the health front, just a reminder, we're asking all coaches to be off by 6:30 for
Off
our health
the
officer
fields?
off the field.
Okay, yep.
Just because of the Triple E scares we've had in the
Okay.
area so far. So Madison Bailey has we've sent out numerous emails
Okay.
to our coaches. We only had to move, that really only adversely affected 2 of our teams because most of them practice from 5 to 6.
Yeah.
So it really just had to switch days and they were good to go.
So for the ones that go to 6:30, as long as we're done by 6:30 and off the fields, we're
Yep.
good. It's just shut down and get off there. Okay.
Yep.
All
And wear
right.
plenty of bug spray and long sleeves if possible. And just play it safe.
Okay.
Is the first frost kind of end that?
We need 2 hard frosts.
2 frosts, yeah.
Yes.
frosts,
Yeah. So
okay.
Madison said most likely it wouldn't be safe really until early November
Okay.
this year. It's been a really bad season for mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Yes, Bob.
Greg, how's the liner working? The field liner, how's that going?
Oh, that
Amazing.
the field liner is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
And we're again making revenue this
Yeah.
fall. And we've trained. I literally, personal note is Riley's first day. I also had a funeral to attend for my aunt, and I trained him in like a minute. Like, here you go. You're gonna go line 7 soccer fields, and he was able to figure it out and do it. Not a problem.
That's awesome.
How long does the paint stay?
We're finding the older paint we have, Dan, does dissipate after about a week and a half, 2
Okay.
weeks. The robot paint, because we can buy special robot paint, which we will be doing as we go through our supply,
Yeah.
will last up to 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's fairly bright. You can definitely see a big difference. So they do make special paint as well for softball and baseball where it chalks up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if that's something that the groups want to invest in, I'm happy to connect them with the sales rep.
Okay. Great. The fields look amazing. The striping is, I was walking in today and I was just looking around, so proud. The striping on the fields it's pretty cool to see. It's really neat.
I was up there for another reason, and someone from the union leader was there, and not with her union leader hat on, and she was like, "This is fascinating. Can we do a story?" So she might be reaching out doing a story.
Nice.
Because when Seacoast Online did the story, we hadn't had them in use. And now that we have them in use, people are really enamored to the point where I ask the public, do not press the stop button while they're in the station.
Or
'Cause I
sit
get
your
an alert
children
and
on
then I
them.
have to, the alarm goes off for about 25, 30 minutes until it shuts off.
And please don't sit your children on them for photos.
Correct.
Ay, 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 ay. All right, that's pretty cool. That's awesome. All right, guys, any discussion or questions about fall soccer? All right, moving along. Planet Playground, an additional fundraising, continued element breakdown. I asked Greg to bring a breakdown for us of the cost of different elements that we're looking to get for Planet Playground so that we can kind of help guide us in a fundraising effort. So Greg, I'm not sure if you want to speak to these and kind of guide us through.
I'll start first with, we can start first at this one. It has a little tree on it. That is our shade sail. And I'll get into why all of these don't add up to the 140, because that may be a question you have. So shade sail of a significant size is really expensive. But we knew that going in because all playground stuff is expensive. So installed and purchased from Miracle is $108,000. And while it behooves us to have them put it in while they're building the playground, so that's one of the things that we could look at. But it's not necessary, as to Dan's point last meeting. So we are looking at when I got that. I am looking at another alternative, though, more of a similar for those that have been to our pool. The red shade structure we have. It's a rectangular. We can get a larger one that will kind of do the same thing. It's significantly cheaper. I'm just waiting on that quote to present to you, but either way, it's going to be pricey to put in a shade structure. But I think we know now without the trees, it'd be best. But it's up to you guys if you really want to go in a different direction, or if $108,000 is a little too much. But it is something that will last for years, and they don't brand it, but they definitely can have plaques mounted to them.
How big is it?
This one is 45 feet by, I think, 30.
And how high off the ground?
It's about 15 to 20 feet
Oh,
off the
really?
ground. It's significant. Yes, it's something that we would have to use a bucket truck to take down and put up every year, but that.
And we do have to break these down, right?
Yeah,
every year?
and but Public Works has a bucket truck that we can do, and the location of it is perfect where we can reach over and grab it.
Okay.
And there's actually a vendor in town that said they would also assist putting it up and taking it down if we needed to.
Is this for one, am I missing, this is for one shade?
One shade structure.
Okay. And this is one specific company, or is this like the overall, what everybody,
That is the
Charge.
same company that is putting in the playground. So
do we have to use that company for this because we contracted with them, or can we price out these and look at?
no, this is only a bit just to give you a ballpark.
Okay, all right, so we can look outside that
Absolutely.
for,
Yep.
But there is the caveat of it has to be American made and American manufactured.
If we're using grant funds.
Oh, but if this
This
is
is-
outside of that, I
yeah,
got
this is outside of it,
Understood.
Brandon.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all of Miracles or any of shade structures is one that is that's what we have at the pool. They're all American made.
Yep.
do you, go ahead, Mike.
The quote for the shade is from Petinelli and Associates.
He's the official rep for
Of Miracle?
Miracle.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay.
Greg, what's the difference in installation costs if it's put in during or post?
Same.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. No significant difference.
Okay.
It's just he's gonna have to come back, and knowing how busy, or if any vendor, knowing how busy they are, if we purchase it later in the year next year, it
Cost
probably
more.
wouldn't be until a 2026 install.
What's the material difference between this shade and the shade that you were talking about at the pool that you have
It's the
now?
exact same. It's that mesh.
Oh,
Same material, just a different structure, style,
Yep.
or?
Yep.
Okay. What's the difference in approximate, 'cause I don't have that in front of you, but what's the difference in cost? Because you said it's a significant
I don't have
difference in
that.
cost.
Yeah, but it's
Approximate, do you know, or?
50, 60,000.
For the structure?
Yeah,
All right, so it's, and that one needs to come up and go down?
all of them
During the
do.
year too?
The material, they do say have a snow load, but it significantly reduces the life expectancy of the
Right.
shade material. Because it's made out of plastic. It
Right.
stretches.
So is it just really an aesthetic piece that we're looking at between the structure that's at the pool as opposed to the sail? Is that, or what are the biggest differences between them? Were they made out of the same
It's just
materials?
the overall cost. It looks different. Like I asked, because originally we said sail, because that was everything that was brought to us, and
Yep.
said, all right, here's a sail, but a traditional 4-post, even though that says it's 4-post, 4-post sail canopy, not a sail, is cheaper. It's just,
Is the longevity of it different?
no, they're about the same, as long as we take it down and put it back up.
I mean,
Is the inherent different size? Like what's the difference?
I'm
trying to
looking
figure
at
out
the picture.
too,
I need to see
yeah,
how,
thank
this thing
you.
better be beautiful.
yeah, because, I mean,
Is it just size? Is it
Yeah.
that this
To me,
45
I
feet and the
understand
other
Yeah.
one is?
Other one would be 20 by 30, so it'd be
It's
significantly
shade.
smaller.
So
but-
one is one size, very large, and one is half that size?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what we're inherently talking about, why there's potentially a $50,000 difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is sales
Is
stuff.
we're doubling the size, therefore doubling the material.
Correct.
Got it. And both would require the 4-post structure posts,
no,
Yep.
what's the other one?
formal install into the ground.
Correct.
What's it called?
With a installation price
Yep.
attached to it.
Yep.
It's just the size.
Just the
What
size.
was the difference in the size as far as seeing
Like
the?
a 45-foot is this one,
Right,
and then the other one is 25, 30, what did you say? 20?
Yeah.
so you'd have to do essentially two, potentially.
Which
This
is
is-
then gonna be the same price.
But, yeah, oh, because we don't have an install on
Yeah.
that too, because, okay.
That you know you want because what's making this one so big is the area we're trying to span for, where the other one would be more set in to the very entrance, because that's really where primarily we had a lot of sun that needed. Like we can't realistically shade the whole entire playground.
Right, no, you can't.
That would be astronomical.
Right.
So we were just focusing on the front entrance as you walked in, so it would be a little shaded. Because the other elements do have some shade to it. And then there, if we wanted to, we could explore shade that goes over the swings as well. But that is usually, that's by the tree line, not as sunny.
So we're not, because my understanding, I thought that the shade structure in the shade area was going to be going back where the picnic tables were.
That's
Is that
all,
not correct?
that's already shaded, so there's no reason to put shade back.
Okay, because I thought we had to take some of those trees down. We don't need to back there?
Right now, we don't, but we could, and it still wouldn't affect the shade back.
Okay, okay, I just
Yep.
want to cross-check on that. So we're looking for one shade coming into the playground?
Yes.
But nowhere really on the playground structure itself?
No, because all of that has roofs on it. So there's shade on the playground elements.
Okay. I mean, what are your thoughts, guys, on, I mean, this, we have to have a shade structure, I think. I mean, when you look at other playgrounds in the area too, and look at what we're trying to achieve on this one, it probably, I would think, makes sense to have one.
I wonder if it would, and this is just a wonder, would it, what if we just installed the playground and went through one summer, one season, or,
Okay.
you know,
Yep.
cycle of use and see where the best, does it need to be? Maybe the 25 is
Yep.
sufficient enough. You know, and just do a little, you know, just a wonder, like,
Yeah.
is it necessary for the opening of the playground? And maybe we might find that a different location is more ideal, or a different setup or size.
To your point, I think
that's a good
if we do that, that makes more sense. Then we move forward with the ADA matting and the Alta as our first goals to raise
Yeah.
money. And then live with it for a year,
Yeah.
figure out where we want to put shade and do a second phase of fundraising. Like, all right, this is what we're going to do for shade.
Absolutely.
Especially at such a significant price.
Yep.
And a significant price difference if we did one to the other.
Yep.
Yeah.
So instead of make a decision going with the cheaper one and then being bummed,
Yeah.
then saying, oh, the 45, it would have been worth it, just maybe run through a summer with
I think
it.
it's a really good suggestion to do that.
I would want to control the narrative a little bit on that so that you don't hear, oh, we spent all this money and now we got an add and shade structure because they didn't think of that.
Yeah.
You know, so
So
how we
potentially set
roll out that
expectations.
narrative.
Phase.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Phase one, phase two,
Planned,
yeah.
It's just,
You want to make it sound, you want it to be
Yeah.
planned, exactly.
And the plan was developed before we even took down trees.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's a significant narrative. We also have to say, like, we had to take down these hazard trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not knowing the full impact.
the other thing is phase one is a grant-funded playground.
Yep.
Phase two is
Fundraise.
shade and accoutrement that is a fundraising effort by the recreation department, so,
That's a good point.
yeah.
Yep. And I think that you have a really good story too, like Jen was saying, that, you know, we wanted to do, basically research this and see where is it going to be best suited, because then we may potentially have needed to do another structure at some point instead of using the funds wisely and raising that. So I think that's really great. And then we can also, gives us the opportunity to go to the people that are fundraising and show them this is why, this is where
Yep.
we need it. And then it gives a bit of a visual. I think that's really
Absolutely.
good with the phasing. But yeah, I think that's really important too, is to set expectations based on, like, this is the phase one, and it's been mentioning making sure they know it's grant-based, and then the second one
I
is-
really think if we look at this in a whole, and especially if we want to keep continuing to develop the rec park in little ways, this is going to be a continuous effort for a while. Getting the playground completed, I think, is important. Having the enhancements for more ADA is right there next, and then shade, living it with it for a year, and then going out and, like, do we want to go down the road where we have a pavilion, which pavilion comes with maintenance cost, obviously, and we have to also keep in mind, if we build a pavilion, we need to build it that is ADA accessible.
Yeah.
So
And
that's gonna.
everything leading to the pavilion,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So we're gonna have to have engineering for that to make sure it's properly graded. Where if we have a picnic area, it's a picnic area, and we can do some kind of material to make sure it is accessible. Like the mats the ADA mats are also grass mats that you can literally put down, put loam on it, put seed, and they make them they become ADA accessible
great.
grass. So, I mean, there's multi-use to these mats.
Do you want to transition to mats then?
Then we will transition
Yep,
to
that's
mats.
a very good transition. Thank you.
Our next one is the mats. This is as a layout of what we have coming up with the playground. What's in blue is what would be matted. What's in pink is the poured in place. So it's just an extension of the poured in place. With the ability down the line, when the poured in place needs to be resurfaced or redone, we can lay the mats right over those and be done with it. So
Had we decided that we were going to do the combo, because I thought we decided to go all mats. No, we're going.
No, we cannot go all mats
Okay.
because they're not Build America, Buy America.
Okay,
That's why doing
gotcha.
these separately is a separate fundraiser.
Yep.
And this is where I would 100% say we should use recreation impact fees.
Yep.
To help offset any fundraising gaps that we get. Right now, we have a significant amount in the impact fees that we could purchase these with.
Anything ADA, we have to do in the phase one
Yep.
right away.
Yeah.
So I think if you have it,
Yep.
this would be a good use.
And this would be a perfect community effort.
Yeah.
Because I have the directions, you lay the mats out, I got the specific zip ties that we need to order from Amazon. And it's just laying them out and getting skilled professionals in there to cut the angles or everything, just like tiling. And just lay them down and making sure we have volunteers that make sure the surface is perfectly flat in wood chips. And then we just encapsulate it with the mats, and then we're good to go.
Love it.
Great.
Hey, Greg, I didn't, the pink, what, poured in place, what do you mean?
So the poured in place is a rubberized surfacing. So that's the standard they have for playgrounds for, it's more of a spongy surface, Bob, that has this crushed rubber that's
It's like a
sealed.
track.
It looks like a
almost,
track.
Like track and field
Yep.
Okay.
surface.
They have them at, they just put last year at Lincoln Street and over the summer at Main Street School on those playgrounds if you want to check out that type of surface.
They're very expensive, Bob, too. It's about $38 to $42 now a square foot for the poured in place. These mats, as you could see, are $79 a mat. And then we have to pay for shipping. And that's it. That's, for our bang for our buck, the mats are definitely, it's gonna be a nice complement to the poured in place. The poured in place has to be done per the grant. So I want to emphasize that to the public watching it. But we are not doing the whole thing because we can never afford the whole thing. We would talk, this would be almost $1 million playground if we did the poured in place.
There are other reasons why we don't want port in place anyway. It's just not as longevity, and you can pick up the mats, and put them
Yep.
as needed if you ever needed to make an adjustment.
And it's like a carpet tile. We have
Yeah.
one, we have a branch go through a mat, we cut the tile out, put the new one in.
Yeah.
We can have a stockpile, and we are thinking of buying some of these anyways for certain parks. Like, anyone knows the rec park between the pavilion and the irrigation shed going out to the fields. We'd like to put rubber mats there, loam it, seed it. So that way, it's a little more level, but also if emergency vehicles need to pull onto the
Yeah.
surface, they can pull on right there and not
Yeah.
be adversely affected because it does get wet there. And there's a couple others. And we could also look at this down the line and putting the mats on the far end of the soccer field as well as a hidden maintenance access road. Because we know what happened when the dump trucks fixed the tennis courts.
Mess.
They damage it. So we, in the down the line, when we go to replace those courts, we are going to have machinery and have to get machinery in there somehow. So that could be a way to do it and allow our staff as well to be able to drive further onto the field and do maintenance instead of, because we don't have a little dump golf cart that we can go out and do surfacing, resurfacing, or anything like that. So just things to keep in mind, but these mats are definitely one of the things I think is very important. But like I said, and just to give you guys, we have $63,000 in impact fees and more coming in with all the development. So as the town issues COs, the single families have to pay into the impact fees, and so is the condos. So any new residency pays into those. So just this year alone, like since February, we've gotten about 10,000. So they're continuously coming in.
That feels like a no-brainer.
Yep.
There's also a product I'm familiar with, Greg, that for vehicle access, it may be cheaper.
Oh, okay.
It's a very hard plastic hexagon grid
Yeah.
that you plant grass on.
Yeah.
And I've had to install that for fire truck access. That may be, for that purpose, maybe something to look at.
All right, so the Miracle Sheet is,
That is the Ultra Glide
Okay.
inclusive one.
With the character.
okay. So that is the one structure, hang on a second.
And again,
These are the
Pennelly and Associates,
27,000.
who
So-
is putting in.
It's double-sided too, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna go back. So I guess my question here for us and for our purposes, for fundraising that we need to do and put together, what are we fundraising for? How much and which, because the breakdown here, I only see one component, and I see mats.
Well, now that we are gonna hold off on, on the shade structure, it's $73,585 to do both, the mats and the Ultra Glide.
So 73,000.
Now, if we wanted to expend all of the impact fees, which I'm not recommending because we don't know if we would need them for 10 Hampton Road, and we can use those for 10 Hampton Road. I'd feel comfortable with at least 40 and leaving 23 in there. Again, knowing more's coming, by next year we'll have another 10, 15,000.
The mats feel like a necessity to complement the ADA already existing with the ADA, with the board. We're extending ADA access to this playground that feels more of a necessity rather than a want. The glider feels like a want, therefore a fundraising effort
Yep.
to me. Like, I don't mind using impact fees for
The mats.
the mats, because that feels like something we really need to do as part of
Yep.
immediate plan. Whereas the glider, potentially this is something we fundraise for, and when funds are acquired, it gets built into the park.
Yep. And that, again, that he can come back anytime and put it in. It just, we know where it's going. For those looking at the ADA map, he has it put there backwards, but it would go in that area. So it would, if you look over here on that, it's just, he has it reversed.
It
So-
also feels like a really worthwhile fundraising project in terms of when you're going to ask people for money. This is very tangible, it's very
Right.
real. There already is one in town that's
Yeah.
loved by children and families.
Yeah.
So to say we want to offer another one
Yeah.
feels like something people who want to give money could sink their teeth into.
Yeah, somebody actually said to me the other day, can you guys make sure that you put one of those glide things down at this one? I
Yeah.
said, it's already being talked about, so
Yeah.
they do love it, you're
Yeah.
right, they absolutely love it.
Where is the glider on the,
He's got it right over here right
It's
now,
this.
but I'm not sure.
And that little walkway going to it would be
Okay.
flipped around
Yeah, you
onto
flip
the
it around to
pink.
the port in place, so.
Oh,
that
so
go-
this would be this way instead, this
Yeah.
would be here, go, so like that should be out there, and that's in here.
so the ramp would be
Yeah.
attached to the pink?
Yes,
Yep.
yeah, so it would be accessible to get on there, so. That makes sense. So really all we're fundraising for right now, or looking to fundraise for right now, is gonna be the
Glider.
glider. What is the mat total? Is 46,000.
$627.
What else are our impact fees allocated for at this time?
Nothing.
Okay.
We've been just saving them up for this and 10 Hampton Road.
And there's about 60,000 in,
63,000 as of today.
so what's the process for that? Do we put together a motion of support if we want to go
And
to?
then I would go to the
Select
select board.
board.
And they would authorize use to order them, knowing that we would order them when we get congressional approval from the governor.
When are we expecting that? Have we-
November.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but these ADA mats are in stock. He gets the shipment from overseas weekly, pretty much. And one of the things is, this is the only one that is approved for ADA accessibility. There's
Okay.
no other type of matting out there right now for this. So, when Massachusetts approves it, and Mike works in Massachusetts a lot, you know, that's a big thing because they have a stricter playground law than New Hampshire does. But we made sure that the New Hampshire law did mimic Massachusetts, and these mats are allowable.
Okay. So before we make Dan put a motion together for us, we're glad he's here. Are we in agreement as a committee that we want to go before the select board to ask for impact fees to be, in support of designating impact fees to go for the ADA accessible mats for Planet Playground project.
100%.
What are our
Yeah,
thoughts?
sure.
Everyone feel
I
good
think
about
that
that?
what we've talked about tonight makes the fundraising feel more
Realistic and
feasible
tangible, yeah.
and realistic and a little less like, wow, that's a really big number.
Yeah, my stomach
Using
settled a little
impact
too. when
fees
I-
for this, looking at 26 or 28 for the glider,
Mm-hmm.
and then putting the shade into phase 2
Mm-hmm.
feels attainable.
Yeah, I agree. So we're all in agreement for using, or proposing to use?
Would we need a motion for that, or could you just say the rec board unanimously approves this?
It would be good to have you guys make a motion to
Support?
support the Parks and
use
Rec
of the
Department
funds.
to get permission from the select board, however you want to.
Okay.
And you need that, you want that at this meeting? Is there an anticipated date?
No, we don't have to do it at this meeting, but it would be
Yeah.
good to.
You can even,
Do you want
we
to put a
can,
sample motion on our next agenda?
yeah, I think that's a great idea to
Absolutely.
come prepared
Yep.
for,
Because again, we're not ordering these anytime soon, because if I order them
Yep.
next
gonna
week,
sit there.
guess what? They're gonna be here in 2 weeks. And
Right.
what am I gonna do?
Store them,
They're just
yeah.
gonna sit on pallets for,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
and I don't want that.
Right.
And Nancy, what are your thoughts for, from an approval standpoint and from the use of impact fees going to something like this as far as an approval?
It's not a problem, but,
Yeah.
you know, we'd have to wait and see the numbers. Can I ask a question?
Of course.
So Greg, I'm not seeing on the glider, it says 30 days from the date for the cost, but there's no date on this document. So what's the chances of that 28,000
Going up?
being a different number? If it goes down, great, but.
it could-
just
nothing goes
keep that
down.
in- I
Yeah.
know. I mean,
It could go up slightly.
So I will just recommend that the proposed motion to consider would not have a specific number. Just word it in some way that in case the quote changes.
Yep.
to the
Allocate
going
fees
to-
above
And what about the map?
Mats haven't gone up in price in
So
a
you
number of
don't
years.
have to worry, there's
No.
no, I'm not seeing any.
No.
And we're allocating funds for
We're
the
at-
mats, not the glider.
Yeah.
But it's still a number. So I just want to make sure, there's no 30
Yep.
days.
Yep.
So I'm just clarifying this.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Does the glider has a fence that goes around it?
No. Just the.
Or that's like
Like
panels
paneling.
on the glider
panels
itself?
on the glider and also the walkway up to it.
Okay.
So you're not.
So you don't
there's
fall
a
off.
ramp, so you're not falling off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
And the glider doesn't have a line item for install. Is that installed?
Oh, yeah, is that part of the,
if he would install it at the same time as the whole playground, it would be, he would include it in what.
can we find out what the install would be
Sure.
from him on, for our
Absolutely.
next meeting? That'd be great, because then that, we need to know on, I mean, I think this is gonna be a piece of cake to fundraise for too, because people love it so much.
Yep. And he actually, for those that want to go, he just installed a playground in Rye Elementary,
Okay.
so with port in place and everything.
Good to know.
Awesome. Okay, so let's plan to have a motion ready to go supporting the Parks and Rec using impact fees to impact fees for the ADA mats for Planet Playground at the cost of $46,627. So we'll plan that, we'll put that on for next agenda to have the motion.
And staff, what, in the motion, it was probably, I would put a not to exceed, because to Nancy's point, the mats aren't going up in price, but shipping. We don't know what gas prices are or anything.
Okay.
So I may add a little extra in there and
Okay.
not to exceed this.
So 46, or not to exceed, okay, perfect. Can you get us the amount
Yep.
so that we can,
Yeah, I'll have a specific number in there for you.
But our motion will be
straightforward. Yep,
Perfect.
Somewhat
So-
not exact in numbers.
correct.
So this thought would mess up the in-stock, the price, and everything, but are the mats able to be ordered with people's names on them?
Oh,
No, they come standardized.
that's a good
Yep.
idea.
Good thought, though.
All right.
They almost remind me of the anti-fatigue mats you'd see in kitchens.
Yeah.
That's really what they look like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The squish ones.
yeah.
Those are squished down. Awesome. All right. Well, that's great. So we'll move that to, got that on for our next agenda. Greg will put that on there. Push that there. And then, what other discussion points do we have, for fundraising and element breakdown at this point?
I think this is a good start.
I think so,
And then
too.
I think finalizing a phase of really what we want. Some of the things that we will be able to include in the grant is, it was brought up when we did a site walk, for a few of us did it, enclosing the utility box. There's enough in there for landscaping that we can put shrubs or a fencing around it that we can paint. If we wanted to eventually do a mural wall, we could fundraise for that. But I think, and even Eric Feldbaum, from the state, said, just get the playground in and
Yeah.
let's not muddy the water with the feds. Get the playground in, and then whatever you do, just let us know what you're doing and make sure it's compliant.
Did this, did the playground include fencing, or was that
Yes.
something that, oh, okay,
Oh,
good,
yeah.
it did, good, okay. That's, I thought it did, I just wanted to double check. 'cause I
It
heard
is
you
a
say
black
something about
chain link
fence.
fencing that will be in the playground, around
Okay.
the playground. So it'll blend in. People, that's my preferred, is a black, where it's kind of just gonna blend in after a while.
Perfect.
I know
Okay.
people do not like chain link. We went above and beyond at Park Street to kind of accommodate the neighborhood, but this is a standard playground that's gonna be heavily used.
Mm-hmm.
So I want something that's durable. I'm afraid if we went the aluminum route, that those would get bent a lot
Yeah.
more than
Yeah.
chain link.
For sure.
And eventually, when we go and we replace the tennis courts, we're gonna go with a black chain link to match it up anyways, so.
Look nicer. That's awesome. Any other discussion points or anything anybody else wants to bring up for these? This is a good start. I've got moved to the next meeting. I've got having the motion ready, and then to finalize phasing as to what we think needs to go where.
Can I just add a few
Yeah,
just
please.
dates,
Yep.
just so you guys keep in mind?
Yep.
So your next meeting is October 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 select board board meetings after that, the October 28th, the 12th, and the 25th. So you want to give the chair a heads up
Yep.
on where you might want to fall in to the agenda,
Mhm.
because that's planned out pretty well in advance. So right now,
And I could coordinate that
and
with
then your
Melissa.
November meeting is literally the night before Thanksgiving, so I'm assuming that's. you guys
No,
can move
we're
that.
gonna
Really?
zoom in.
Dress up like
Yeah.
turkeys and,
Turkeys.
bring
Okay,
on
anyway,
our
I
best
just wanted to
pilgrim.
throw those dates out so
Yeah.
you can keep it in mind.
Yeah, that's perfect. I wrote those down too to make sure, and then Greg we'll talk about what date.
And honestly, if we go to the select board in December,
Yeah,
the mats are gonna be here quickly, so we just gotta time it right where the playground gets installed, and before we open it to the public, we get the community build to lay out the mats.
yeah, I mean, we can throw it out after the 23rd. You can throw it out to the chair and just say what's the best,
Yep.
what works for you guys based on what you have
Yeah.
on your agendas, and then
Yeah.
pick a date for you
And it's a
guys.
great opportunity to update the public.
Yes.
Who might not be watching this meeting, but maybe watch the select board meeting.
Yeah,
Know where things are going and your intent to fundraise,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So,
that's great. All right. Thank you guys for having action items put together for us to move forward to next meeting. And if we are ready to, unless anybody has anything else they want to bring up on the fundraising or Planet Playground at this point, we can move to the next agenda item, which was field trip pricing. And Greg, I don't know if you want to lead us off on that.
Yeah, I handed out and I sent it in the packet a breakdown of this past year's attendance on all the field trips. Obviously, you don't know any kid's name, so that that was one thing. But also a listing of what we brought for, what had for field trips. Steph had asked to put this on, and we had brought it up briefly at a past meeting about people having concerns on the pricing of the camp trips. And yes, so you have in your packet are two ones. You have grades 1 through 7 and teen camp. I know it did print very well, and I should have just cut and pasted it. So, and if you look, we'll start with grades 1 through 2. The big factor driving the cost for all of these field trips, and Bryn can attest, is the cost of busing.
Oh, God, yeah.
Cost of busing is outrageous, but we need them. One, because we have a philosophy in the department, we don't cram them in as much as we could or have seen. So we some of these trips are a good distance, so we don't, that's the last thing we want is a reaction of driving far on a crammed bus, 3 per seat. That's not, it's not enjoyable.
Middle of July.
In
when it's
July.
Super hot.
And there's no air conditioning on the school buses except for the wind. And then some of these attractions have really skyrocketed since
Yeah.
COVID. So the lower ones are cheaper because the state park has a great state park pass program for buses. So we utilize that, but again, that 50, we just break even on those trips. So it's not like we're making an exorbitant amount of money. And the ones that have a paid admission, their ratios have gone down where they give us less free admissions for kids. It's not like Kennedy Lake Park, I think it's for every 15 you get a free admission. Our ratios are much less than that. We like to keep our ratios on field trips at 5 to 1, which is a lot safer than a lot of other programs I've seen around. So, and not only that, just to remind everyone on the board, so we had 27 scholarship campers this year. The department themselves pledged to match any of those scholarships and put them on all field trips for free to give them a full enjoyment of the of camp. So that alone is about $27,000 or $28,000 of scholarships that we gave them out of our own fees. So that all gets calculated into the pricing of it. The teen camp, when we developed it a number of years ago, did try to offer more of the adventure-based trips. We do have some similar crossover, obviously. The staples of Kennedy Lake Park and Water Country are always going to be a big attraction. But we did try to supplement it with sea kayaking, the canoe trip, Wall of Sands, obviously, that's one of the cheaper ones, Museum of Science. So, I mean, there's a mixture of there that would show you that it's more for, they're geared for older teens, because not all of them are gonna want to do the same thing. So, looking at your breakdown of trips, we had approximately 28? Could you pull up how many we had for teen camp registered? I'm sorry. And historically, these numbers match what we always attract for field trips. So we've been running the same philosophy where it's you either sign up for the field trip or you don't go. I always preface it as realize that these are camp activity fees that are tax deductible. For those that went through the daycare, you still can, all the way up to 18, claim child care credits for sending them to summer camp. So that is something where it's a built-in way for us to throttle the numbers down for field trips to the 5 to 1 ratio we have. If we had it 100% attendance on all the field trips, we would have to hire twice as many more staff, and that would drive up the cost of the camp. So there's a philosophy that we've gone about it, but I wanted to present the numbers. The numbers are very strong, you can see. And to take it with a grain of salt, we always see a dramatic drop in attendance and in camp field trip participation after July 4th. My 20 years here, it's always like, that's the cycle of people starting to go on vacations and they're just rotating in and out. And so that is, that's pretty much it. We had, how many did we have total?
So there was 20 who were signed up for all 8 weeks, but in session 1, there was an extra 7. So you had 27 in session 1 and then 23 in session 2, teen campers.
So if you look at the teen camp trip, week 1, we had 17. Week 2 for Cinnamon Rainbow, we had half. 22 for Kennedy Lake Park, 18. So we pretty much had, the teen camp had almost everyone participating. Unfortunately, I do understand it is very difficult to budget this.
Yeah.
And we're open to suggestions, but in New Hampshire, we are very limited on where we can send them for field trips without boring them or sending them 2 hours north. And we're driving for 4 hours for a 2-hour field trip.
I mean, these trips are great. We all know how expensive it is to do stuff like this, having kids and bringing families to these facilities. I would say if you're endeavoring to match the RUN scholars so that they can also attend all the trips for free, I think that's as good as we can probably do to lower these costs.
I mean, I think my thing is that part of our mission statement is to make Parks and Rec equitable for an inclusivity to include people. And, you know, when I look at these, and I mean, I had a teen that was at camp this year, and you know, she did go on almost all of them, but it was a little choking to pay $100 or to pay $80, and we're like, this is a field trip, and it's multiple field trips a week. So, listen, these are amazing trips, and I love them. They're fantastic. But when I look at them, my concern lies with, do some of these field trips fall within our mission statement of inclusivity? Because a lot of times people are scraping the funds because they have to send their kids because they're working or they've got stuff going on. So I just want to make sure that as Parks and Rec, we're following along with our mission statements, because our camp program is so amazing and we have so many great opportunities for kids to participate. But I also don't want it to be at the expense of, you know, parents having to really scrape to do that.
How many kids went to these for free based on the RUN matching that you did?
27 through all the
27
grades.
kids were granted admission to these camp trips completely free. So, and those are the ones who are identified as scholarship participants.
Yes.
May I ask a question? I'm just wondering if there's an urgency behind talking about this right now without Caroline.
Because the reason that we.
I only ask because she is the head of, she does the
Yeah.
camp, she does all the research on these,
Yep.
and I'm just wondering if her input, not that yours isn't valuable, but is her input valuable, and is this something that is there an urgency to talk about it today, or could it be tabled until Caroline could be here? Just a wonder.
Caroline doesn't set the trips until March and April because none of these facilities have their pricing out.
Right. I think it's a valuable conversation. I just think that Caroline would be able to add a lot of value to this as well. And so I'm just wondering if it's something to put on a later agenda, but certainly to bring back, because Steph, I definitely hear you. We do want to make it accessible for all of our campers, but I mean,
Am I also understanding that camp is $156 a week if you buy the 8-week session?
You did the math, yes.
Yes.
So we're talking about a camp that is $156 a week. That in itself is accessible. and inclusive.
And I would say, do you have the option when you register to add a, sponsor as camper on a field trip?
We didn't add, it's hard with our software, but we did solicit scholarships and we raised a whopping $250, I think.
I'd have to pull it
Yeah.
up, yeah.
Yeah. So it's something we can definitely look to explore. It's just hard. It's clunky. We would manually have to say, hey, would you like to contribute to the scholarship fund?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but, like one of the things we did with baseball is we added as part of registration, you could sponsor somebody's like all-star season. So it's like $100 to play all-stars. So it's like when you register, you see it's not just making a donation. It's you feel like you're actually sending somebody to water country.
Yeah.
So if there was some way to specifically add that, you might be able to.
The other thing to note is that this program does also have a payment plan. And then lastly, if a camper does not want to attend the field trip, can they stay behind with camp, or it's either go on the camp or you stay home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just don't have a staff.
Yep.
We were,
Yeah.
and as it is, our staff was 35 this year. Largest staff since before COVID.
Yes.
So, but we're talking Monday through Friday,
8 a.m.
8 a.m. to 4 p.m. for $156 a week.
And the field trips for the teen is it's an additional $560. So that's still under $2,000 for a resident. I just did that math wrong, but 560, 12.
No, I have the same.
It's
I have the same number.
$1,810. It's $1,800 for a summer with these amazing field trips. You divide that by 8, now we're looking at $226. And it can go from 8 to 4.
I mean, there is no better
It is
bargain.
still, yeah, I mean, I appreciate you.
And on top of that, a payment plan, if needed. On top of that, 27 kids already were able to do these field trips for free.
Right.
So it's not that, again, I would never want a child to not be able to participate for whatever reason. But I do feel like we are hitting a lot of the boxes.
I agree, and to get your kid to Canopy Lake Park, including a ride there and a ride back for $60,
And not having to pay for yourself.
and not having to pay for yourself.
Or go.
Or siblings. I mean, this is the other thing
Yeah.
too, right? Like,
Or the gift shop.
Yeah.
and the kids all bring their lunch. There's no expectation of like, oh, and we are going to buy lunch while we're there. Like,
Right.
you're really cutting down on what a family of 4 would pay to go do that activity, and the kiddo gets that experience.
Right.
Last
And-
summer, I took my whole family to water country and it cost me $260 to get in.
Did you do the air tattoos though? I mean,
We did get Dippin' Dots and fried dough.
Greg doesn't say no.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the other thing from another viewpoint perspective is families are registering with these prices are already out there. So they already know what they're getting into or not getting into. And if there is a budget issue, pick and choose. We can afford this many field trips, and they know ahead of time. So, I mean, I think when you break it down, Bryn, when you do break it down like that, you're like, okay, wait a minute, because how much is it to go to Camp Lincoln or Action Kids, or I can't think of any other ones, but
So we did bring in $285 for anyone who wanted to donate towards camp scholarships, which definitely helps. We'll definitely keep pushing that. And I mean, if you look back a few years ago, we didn't have any camp scholarship fund, period. So it does seem like we're going in the right direction. And I appreciate Steph bringing it up because, and I think Caroline would agree, I know she's not here, but the sea, $100 for the sea kayaking adventure, that is awesome, but it is kind of expensive. And she worked really hard on putting a variety of trips that were, like Greg said, like interesting to teens,
Right.
but also easy on families' wallets. So I think it's something that we just keep looking into and trying to plan for the future.
And maybe if we can come up with more additional revenue, that if someone is struggling for a specific field trip, we can subsidize. And that, again, we don't want a kid not to be able to participate because of financials. So, just another thing we can add on to. But that's a whopping, between all the great organizations that sent kids to summer camp and us, that's $54,000 that was spent on summer camp, that these people that couldn't afford it.
My final note is the fact you even have a teen camp. Very few camps go for grades 8 and 9. So the fact that this even exists is a service to families. This is not normal. Grades 8 and 9 are not a normal.
A lot of them have that paid CIT, like Camp
Yeah.
Lincoln, you have to
You pay
the
to send your kids to
CIT.
camp, yeah. or to be a
And
CIT.
do work, which is great, but this is also one of the things we've always wanted to keep with teen camp is that's our feeder system. We call them legacies.
Yeah.
We want those legacies to come work for us. We had a great amount of legacies this year that were first year CITs that were amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some of our hardest workers, because they get the camp culture, they get
Yeah.
what goes into it. And that's why, and when I ran summer camp, I told my staff, if you don't make the kids cry by the end of the summer, you didn't do your job.
Oh.
And it's crying in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
But I think that's also the inherent planning that goes into this. It has a whole nother layer behind it in terms of these activities, in terms of what you're offering, because you are thinking about prepping these kids in a way that they want to come back and then be the counselor or be the next level at some point. So I think that that's an important layer that isn't on paper.
I think people have to understand Parks and Rec plays a very important role of youth development.
Very much.
Because school, and we have 2 school teachers here, it's very structured, and they do a great job, but we get the relaxed kids in the summertime, where it's like, we have issues, we know that, but we're trying to develop them into be good human beings and helping their parents and provide a service that I think really goes a long way. We had the highest attendance since pre-COVID, so, and, I mean,
And you're also doing that for the counselors.
yeah, as well, yes. 35 of those are youth that, it's a very important life lessons they learn working.
Yeah.
And I have a number, I can't fathom how many camp counselors I've had work underneath us for 20 years, so it's been a lot. So, and I see how successful some of them are.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a detriment, or it's a, not detriment, it's a really inspiring to see.
So we don't need to table it.
Well, I think it would be
It's a-
good if you guys had suggestions, I'm gonna give you guys homework, like anywhere you think that might be good. Because for instance, I took my daughter to a birthday party from a camper she met here in Exeter, to a great fun city in Goffstown, which is phenomenal. Never been to Goffstown before, but, it's trampoline park, indoor bumper cars, laser tag, climbing gym, all rolled into one with the little arcade games and.
We were looking at roller skating, the remix in Manchester, indoor rollerblading. So we're already thinking of ideas, and we'll definitely share them with Caroline when she gets back. So it'll be an ongoing discussion for sure.
I don't know if it's, what the drive time is on a bus. Probably if you guys are going to the Museum of Science, but Bodeborg in Malden, it's like a bunch of mini escape rooms that you can just keep going in and going in. It's called Bodeborg. It's so much fun. The teen camp would love it. And I think you either pay like 2 hours at a time or maybe unlimited, I'm not sure, but if you look it up, it's so much fun. You guys should go do it. It's, yeah.
A6 in Marlborough, Mass is another, it's like indoor, like entertainment, like arcade, go-karts, ride, climbing ropes, and it's all.
Do you all, I know we are wrapping this up, but do you all pursue sponsorships with the places that you go to?
Not the places we go to.
Because that might be a way to do it, you know, like Canopy Lake is a camp sponsor and gives 20% discount, and then they're a sponsor of camp. So that might be a way to defray some of the costs.
We can definitely explore. I don't think any other Parks and Rec has done that. We had 3 camp sponsors this year. We had Optimum, just a sponsor, Convenient MD, and what's the dental place?
Smiles by the Sea.
No, here in town. There's a dentist that sponsored, and I apologize. He's our next door neighbor.
Yes.
I'd be
Yeah,
interested
Wheeler's
to
dad.
see,
Yes.
Sam Lemmeris.
Yeah.
I'd be interested
Great
to
View
see
Dental?
the,
Yes, Great View Dental. Thank you.
I'd be interested to see the cost of the field trips too, if you separated the transportation from it too, and is there a way that we can maybe figure out a way to offset the transportation so that the field trips are still available, they're still even more reasonable priced, but that we were able to offset the transportation costs somehow through Parks and Rec for fundraising or for scholarships or something like that, because that seems to be the bulk of the cost, which is understandable because it's really expensive for transportation. But if somehow that could be offset too, that could potentially help, because I think that we talk about families that are scholarship families and people that are struggling. Well, there are a lot of people that aren't going to admit that they're struggling as well. Because I never would have known that the person, or the people, actually multiple people that came to me were, having to struggle with coming up with it, but they came up with it out of necessity. So it's great that we have the scholarships, and it's amazing that we have 27 kids that got to go for these. But there are a lot of people that we don't bucket into those because we don't really know what's going on with them, and they're not going to come forward and tell us what's going on with them. And they may not have told their children what's going on either. And then this is a discussion that they've got to have in their family because of, well, we can't send you, we're struggling, this is going on. So I don't know if there's a way that we could somehow offset down the line
We'll get the whole
transportation
calculation of how
or-
much transportation, and I think you'd be blown away.
Oh, I'm not surprised at all. Yeah, that's why I'm saying I think that
The
that's
vouchers I
the
sign all
bulk
the
of
time,
it.
like for $2,000-3,000, like per week.
Yeah,
And I think it's a safe bet that transportation costs, regardless of fuel,
right,
are gonna go up.
right.
I mean, for students looking at striking.
We don't have drivers, right? Drivers alone.
All in all, as far as fees go, definitely want to be inclusive, but I don't think there's any of these fees that are not a bargain.
Because you also don't have to pay it and you can stay home. I know that sounds harsh, but it's not a requirement that you pay.
I agree with that, but I fall back. I'm a big mission statement geek, and I think that if we're saying to people, you don't have to go.
I hear
can
you,
stay
but where are we
home.
not hitting the mission statement within the realm of camp? And camp is optional. This isn't daycare for a second grader. These are 8 or 9-year-olds, grades 8 or 9. This is a bonus to your summer.
I know, I look at it as an opportunity to get my child off screens, which
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's,
there's a value to that.
and that's a big value, absolutely. And in this day and age where that demographic is getting hammered more and more on social media and everything, it's just, my daughter just went to middle school, and the emails I get from them, just like, this is the reason why I don't allow you on TikTok or any of those social medias. So,
And the opportunity to experience these with friends and not necessarily with family. It's one thing to go to Canopy with your mom and your dad and your little sister, but then to just be able to be off with your gaggle of friends and feel a little more grown up and independent and experience that. And, I mean, I agree with Bren, and especially once we break it down, but.
well, come back with some ideas, and we'll have totals for how much we spent on transportation, and maybe we banter around ideas of how we can subsidize that a little bit more. We're going to be reviewing all of our sponsorship levels anyways this year, and really addressing some of them, because some of them haven't been changed in a couple of years, and it's getting pricey for some of the stuff.
Did I send you our new breakdown? The one sheet that we made this year?
Yes, but if you want to resend it to me, Dan, that'd be great.
All right. Any other questions, comments, or things that want to be brought up on this? All right, we'll move it on to winter basketball. It's already here.
It's here. Registration is open. Numbers are looking pretty good. We're definitely looking for some coaches, so anyone watching, if you're interested, our travel program, this year, our third and fourth grade, so last year, let me back up a little. Last year, our third and fourth grade boys we partnered with Brentwood to do like a semi-travel type league. Partnering with Brentwood, it helped them. It also helped us get enough teams to do sort of I think it was 4 teams total,
Yep.
4, 6, and we did call it like an in-house league. And the third and fourth girls played in the Lamprey River Travel League, which is also where our 5th and 6th boys and girls played. And then 7th, 8th, I think we only had a boys
Yes.
team.
Yep.
7th and 8th has been a little tough lately. But anyways, this year, the reason our 3rd and 4th was a little different than the older kids is they didn't play 5-on-5 in that league. This year, they are playing 5-on-5.
Which one was this for?
Lamprey.
Lamprey
Okay.
River.
Yeah.
So they're doing 5-on-5?
They're 3rd
this
and
year?
4th. They are going 5-on-5. So we and Brentwood both felt that it was appropriate to join because that's what we wanted ultimately, was to get as close to a real basketball game. At 3rd and 4th, you should be playing 5-on-5. And so 3rd through 8th is going to be playing in the Lamprey League. We had a meeting recently, and we played with them, and we feel it's going to be a good move. Last year, no major complaints. Season went well. It's basketball, and with the older kids, you're gonna get competitive games. I mean, we've all seen them, and from our view is just really trying to address and stop issues before they escalate. So that's making sure our coaches all understand that if our own fans are getting upset and yelling at refs or coaches, like, they need to address that. It's tough because we hire mostly high school age students to ref games. And as a high schooler, it's tough to go up to an adult and say, hey, first warning, next time I'm going to kick you out. It's, so it's a lot of just educating and trying to get ahead of it before things escalate. And I think that's no matter what league, no matter where you play, for some reason, basketball just brings it out in people. I think it's everyone's cooped up and it's wintertime and everyone's angry. But not to say we're going to have any major issues this year. So, but we are still hiring refs and gym supervisors. So we have a few already. We have some returning refs. Some of our refs, actually, let me back up, are college graduated. So I feel really comfortable having them. They're also summer camp staff. So they're going to do a great job. They definitely keep the game in line.
Are they all patch?
No.
They are not patched. It's not a requirement for the league. Also, patched refs get paid really, really good money. Would love to have some, but they want double than what we're paying per game, at least.
What are the training for high school kids to ref?
So the league coordinates a referee training clinic that we will send everyone to. And then we also have some training that we offer as well. But they have a patched seasoned ref or two that run the clinic. And it works really well because all the towns ideally send all their refs so everyone's on the same page as far as the rules go.
What's
and-
the age for refs and gym supervisors again? Do you know? Age minimum,
15?
I guess. Minimum?
I would say, yeah, we've had.
For refs, yeah. Gym supervisors, we like them junior, senior in high school at least. College would be great, but obviously we have a limited pool.
Yeah. I mean, technically by law, there's no age requirement. You don't have to have a driver's license or be a certain age to 18 to handle pool chemicals. So, but again, to Greg's point, we're looking for someone who's if they're experienced, mature,
Yeah.
we'll hire you.
Okay.
Yeah, because the overall of the gym supervisor is put the equipment out, put it away in our little lockbox, and at Main Street School, make sure they don't wander the halls.
Right, that's a
Yeah.
big
Go into
one.
classrooms. Lincoln Street is a little more manageable because they have a locked door between the classrooms and the gym. So
Yeah.
that's the easy one but that one you also have to juggle don't go on the gymnastics equipment.
I did speak to Sam about that.
Okay.
She was going to talk to the other, the two PE
Yes.
teachers were going to talk.
Because we had asked in the past, and Steph knows this as well, asked if they could just delay gymnastics until late February, early March, when it's still crappy outside. So, excuse my language. The kids will still get the same benefit by doing it when we are not needing the gym
Right.
for basketball.
Right.
And there's plenty that they could do fun in January.
And it makes it
February.
harder for you guys to put together practices too, because you've completely eliminated that whole side of the gym too, and that's tough. It's really tough to do for you on your end, so
Yeah.
that would be really great.
I missed this at the beginning. You said registration opens for this?
Already open.
It is
It's already
open, yeah.
And when does the season start? What's like the bracket?
So for 3rd through 8th grade, the season games will begin first Saturday in December. For pre-K up to 2nd grade, games begin first Saturday in January.
And they run through February, like February
Right.
vacation?
Mid-February.
We end right at February vacation. Yeah.
Just pulling up the deadline for registration. November 1st, it looks like. Deadline for 3rd through 8th grade.
We
I'll
already
double check.
filled for our pre-K in grades 1 and 2, so you might also experience a surge in that age group.
Got it. December 1st, registration deadline for pre-K, kindergarten, 1st and 2nd. Also, another thing to note for our 1st and 2nd grade program, it had historically been 4-on-4. We were hearing from coaches that they were just playing 5-on-5, which wasn't a big deal. So we changed the format to 5-on-5. We've since heard some feedback. Why did you change it? Like, because
Coaches are following it.
But I totally understand the feedback, whereas, as you probably all know, that program is in Main Street School gym. They take a full-size court and cut it in half, so that to use half of a regular-sized court and have 10 first and second graders, I totally understand that could be a lot, could be a little hectic, so we're gonna look into that some more. If we have to change it to 4-on-4, we want to make sure we're all on the same page and we can all agree on the format, so.
In Portsmouth, for our younger kids, we do 3-on-3.
Yeah, 3-on-3 for pre-K,
Okay.
kindergarten, and then it historically went to 4-on-4 and then 5-on-5 at the 3rd, 4th level, so. But other than that, everything's going well.
All right, any-
So each team, there's like 5 per team, or is it, you have 7 per team? Or
It depends on, so like kindergarten where it's 3-on-3,
Yeah.
you'd probably have 6, maybe
Okay.
7 per team. You're always trying to get even number of teams because you don't want to have like a double headers or bye weeks. So sometimes you got to work with what you deal with, and you may have like slightly smaller teams or slightly bigger teams. But for the teams that play 5-on-5, 10 is a good number.
10 is perfect.
Yeah, right. 5 in, 5 out.
Unless one of them can't make it,
Yeah.
then it's a nightmare. All right.
And this year, we started this last year, we don't give coaches any discounts, we give coaches gifts. So you get a sweatshirt or a t-shirt. So the coaches actually, I've been seeing them in Hannaford's and around town, so they're really actually, like, hey, get some Exeter Parks and Rec
Little
swag.
swag.
And
Is it out of your
yeah,
closet,
they're showing
though?
it off, so it's good. It's
Little
been a big hit.
advertisement.
Yep,
I like that, actually.
Be a
It's better.
coach, get the cool swag.
yep.
All right. Any other questions or discussion on winter basketball, guys? All right. New business, Greg.
Happy to announce that Scott Thomas has been promoted to our Parks Foreman.
Yay.
Our
good
Parks
for him.
labor job was posted on Indeed and on NHMA, which is New Hampshire Municipal Association's website, and it's on the town website. So if you know anyone looking for a Parks entry-level labor position, send them my way. We're like any age, any experience, knowing that it's just an entry-level job in the town. So Scott's excited. We did go through an extensive process to make sure that we actually brought a third party in for a second round of interviews, a non-biased, and using my Parks and Rec connections, we were able to get the superintendent from Bristol, Connecticut, to Zoom in and do interviews
Oh.
for us.
That's
And
awesome.
anyone that's watched the regionals going to Little League World Series, those are his fields that they play on. So, guy knows his parks very well, and a big shout out to Dr. Mendoza for giving us 2 hours of his time to conduct the in-house interviews for us and giving us his recommendation. So we're very thrilled to have Scott here and continue his growth with the department.
Congratulations, Scott, that's awesome. Any other new business?
You got anything else?
I don't have anything.
I don't either.
Old business?
What's the status on 10 Hampton Road?
We're hopefully finalizing that contract still. Sorry, it's been delayed, but we're still on the same timeline. And the engineers definitely, we're looking at it last week. So they're going through and doing their due diligence. But yeah, we should be breaking ground. And again, I will be giving you a date once that contract is finalized that we'll bring in that sledgehammer and we'll let Nancy knock a hole in the wall.
Thank you guys for taking those shutters down.
Yeah.
That was
I did
freaking me
that stuff. I
out.
went out and I
Did you
jumped the window
yourself?
and ripped it right off the
Scale
wall.
them up. I was about to scale the building and take it down myself.
But
like some
anyone that's
kids
been to
getting
10 Hampton
taken
Road,
out.
we were a participant in the United Way Day of Caring on Friday. So we took a lot of brush and cut a lot and cleaned up. And I mean, we did 5 1-ton trucks full to the dump from
Wow.
10 Hampton
Wow.
Road.
That's a lot.
And it was drizzly and they were great. And 30 volunteers, you just have to feed them. So Jersey Mike's always hits the spot for them. And it was a great day. I mean, we got a lot done in 5 hours. And then by that time, they were soaking wet because it was raining and they all went home.
It's awesome.
So,
It's great.
Yeah, we really do get a lot of good help from organizations, the Day of Caring. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Who is your group?
I can't remember the name, but this is a little history. So one of the people I got there, and I'm like, she sent her boys to camp 15 years ago.
Oh, love
Yeah.
that.
And her oldest son is 28 years old. And her 2 twins are younger. One's in the Army. She's a grandmother now. And so I'm like, you're officially making me feel really old. 'Cause, yeah, but yeah, she was like, she recognized me right away, and I recognized her, and she was surprised I actually remembered her name.
That's awesome. I do have one thing for, I don't know, new or old business, Powder Keg.
That's what I was gonna
It is
ask.
October 5th. We still have openings for volunteer spots, and there are still tickets available as well, rain or shine. It's always a great time. Ooh, I didn't even mean to rhyme on that. How about that? A thank you to Chamber of Commerce and Jennifer Wheeler for always being so supportive and awesome and getting things going, and including Parks and Rec in the project. There will not be a duck race this
Correct.
year.
That has been retired.
So it will, unfortunately, we don't have that, but fortunately, there's going to be easier setup for us to go in. Jen and I talked about that, for walking in, but we definitely could use volunteers still. You do get a ticket for the festival for volunteering, and you get a very swanky, cool T-shirt as well. And you can either volunteer beforehand or after for cleanup, or before for setup, or you can be, part of checking in during the festival. And I heard the band is going to be great this year, from what I heard.
Same band, Maddie and the Penders.
Yeah, they're really fun.
With
They're
former
really fun.
Deputy Chief Mike Monk.
Yes,
playing
oh,
bass.
it's awesome. I love it.
So-
It's so great. I'm up there.
And yeah, even if anyone wants to come down and help us clean up the parkway after that,
Yeah.
it's a big undertaking to put everything away.
Yeah.
And so we'll be packing up the U-Haul like we always do, and then cleaning up the trash. We are using Merrill to paint the vendor spots this year with
Oh,
a
good.
service lane in the middle of them, so
good.
we can empty trash throughout the day. Besides the breweries is sticking all the trash behind them, and we have to deal with that at the end. So hopefully that will speed up a little bit. We are full. There's 72 breweries signed up. We just filled up today, and unfortunately, we only have 4 chili vendors, but that's something we're gonna tackle next year.
Yeah,
No.
but there are food trucks there as well,
We have
so.
multiple food trucks, barbecue, Lexi's, Thai, pretzels.
Memories again, I think.
No memories.
Oh, not this year?
Just Lexi's. Chubb's fries and fried dough. So we have fried dough, kettle corn.
That's what you want, all the fried
I mean,
stuff.
all the good. Anything about that dog bowl of French fries.
Oh my God, Jennifer
good.
brought some down last year and it
And
was
he's
just, aw.
one of the residents from my hometown, and he's at every Friday night football game for Timberlane, and he donates like pretty much all his proceeds to their booster club.
That's awesome.
And so he's a good guy. He gives back, but he makes some good French fries.
Yeah.
And do you have a plug for the Halloween parade and
Ooh,
costume?
yes, yes.
Halloween parade is October 26th,
Mm-hmm.
and trick-or-treating following downtown. We're going to be putting up posters and flyers later once Powder Keg's over. And yeah, that's it. We're not doing as much for Halloween. I think last year we tried to do did we do the murder mystery Halloween?
Yes.
And that was, we're looking at another thing to do, not during Halloween, because there's a lot going on.
It's a lot.
And then holiday block party is coming as well. And just let people know, we have a really good entrance for Santa this year. So when he arrives, so people will be psyched to see that.
Is that
And
the guy
we're-
with the Cybertruck?
No Cybertruck. And we're also, one of the things Scott is very passionate about for our parks foreman is holidays. So he observed the first time setting up for the holiday block party last year with cones and grade stakes and caution tape. Oh, he's like, that's not good enough for Santa and kids waiting. So we've ordered 24 4-foot candy canes, and he's gonna mount it with LED lights, and he's gonna light it up so
that'd
the
be
kids can
great.
stand in line. And so he did some gravestones for us that we will be putting out in October at Townhouse Common with fog that comes
would
out.
be cool.
So he really loves to do that stuff.
Cool.
That's
Maybe
awesome.
something to do while people are waiting in line for the dang Christmas trees.
Yeah.
Silly line.
Well, we'll be coming to you, Dan.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it really is true. Finding other
Yeah.
Yeah.
activities.
Is trick or treat
collecting
on
little
Halloween
treats
this
now.
year?
Trick or treat is on Halloween.
On Halloween, all
On
right.
the 31st.
Okay, that's always good. People always have that question, so. All right. Well, I think we've covered everything that we need to. Anything else, guys, that we need to discuss? All right, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, we have a motion to adjourn. We have a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, meeting is adjourned.
Thank you for tuning in to
guys.
Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.